Hello and welcome to this Tuesday edition of the World Report with me, Arjun Mahendran. Let's take a look at what's making headlines around the world. Dozens of MPs in Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party have now agreed that the Canadian Prime Minister needs to go. He must abandon his post. Now, this comes after last week's embarrassing resignation of his deputy. It signals that Trudeau has completely lost support from once crucial loyalists. Several Canadian media outlets, including the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation and the Toronto Star, reported over the weekend that 51 of Ontario's Liberal MPs met virtually and agreed collectively that Trudeau's time in office has expired. There are a total of 75 Liberal MPs in the province. That is the country's most populous and represents where most of the party's support lies. Now, this indicates the core of Liberals have abandoned Justin Trudeau. Israel's defense minister has confirmed that the IDF assassinated former Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran earlier this year. He went on to warn that the military would also decapitate the leadership of Yemen's Houthi rebels. Now, his remarks mark the first public acknowledgement that Israel was behind the killing in late July of Haniyeh in the Iranian capital. Israel was widely believed to be behind the blast, and leaders have previously hinted at its involvement. Iran and Hamas have had blamed it for the Hamas political leader's death.
הבסנו את החמאס, ניצחנו את החיזבאללה, עברנו את מערכות ההגנה באיראן ופגענו במערכי הייצור, מוטטנו את משטר אסד בסוריה, הכינו קשות בציר הרשע, ואנחנו נכה קשות גם בארגון הטרור החותי שנשאר עומד אחרון ויורה על ישראל. נפגע בתשתיות אסטרטגיות שלו ונערוף את ראש מנהיגיו בדיוק כמו שעשינו להניע, סינואר ונסראללה בטהרן, עזה ובלבנון, נעשה בחודדה ובצנע.
According to reports, gaps between Israel and Hamas over a possible Gaza ceasefire have narrowed, though crucial differences are yet to be resolved. A fresh bid by mediators, Egypt, Qatar and the United States to end the fighting and release Israeli and foreign hostages has gained momentum this month, though no breakthrough has yet been reported. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday said progress has been made in hostage negotiations with Hamas in Gaza, but that he did not know how much longer it would take to see the results. A Kremlin spokesperson has said that the British-born wife of deposed Syrian President Bashar al-Assad is not seeking a divorce. Reports in Turkish media had suggested Asma al-Assad wanted to end her marriage and leave Russia, where she and her husband were granted asylum after a rebel coalition overthrew the former president's regime and took control of Damascus. Asked about reports in a news conference hall, Dmitry Peskov said, no, they do not correspond to reality. He also denied reports that Assad has been confined to Moscow and that his property and assets had been frozen. Germany searched on Monday for answers on possible security lapses after a man drove his car into a Christmas market, killing at least 5 people and casting a renewed spotlight on security and immigration ahead of a snap election. Now, the possible motive of the arrested suspect, a 50-year-old psychiatrist from Saudi Arabia with a history of anti-Semitic Israeli rhetoric and a sympathy for the far-right Alternative for Germany party, remains unknown. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that more than 3,000 North Korean soldiers have been either killed or wounded in Russia's Kursk region. The Ukrainian president has also warned that Pyongyang could send more personnel and equipment for Moscow's army and criticized the world leaders for doing quote-unquote almost nothing to counteract Russia's military cooperation with the North. There are risks of North Korea sending additional troops and military equipment to the Russian army, Zelensky said on Monday. South Korea's military, meanwhile, also said on Monday that it has detected signs of North Korea preparing to send more troops and weapons, including suicide drones, to Russia.
На Курщині є вже більше 3000 поранених та вбитих північно-корейських солдатів. Росія їх просто утилізує у штурмах. Чому корейці повинні воювати за Путіна? Жодна нормальна людина на землі не відповість. І, на жаль, світ майже нічого не робить, щоб протидіяти злочинній колаборації Росії та Північної Кореї.
South Korea's main opposition party has said that it plans to immediately take steps to impeach acting President Han Duck-soo. The Democratic Party's floor leader Park Chan-tae announced this after Han postpones approving legislation to launch a special council investigation into President Yoon Suk-yeol's failed bid to impose martial law. Now, Prime Minister Han has taken over from the suspended Yoon, who was impeached on the 14th of December and faces a constitutional court review on whether to oust him or to restore his powers.
민주당은 내란 대행 한덕수 총리에 대한 탄핵 절차를 바로 개시하겠습니다. 내란의 잔부를 진압하겠습니다. 한덕수 총리 탄핵이 3분의 2 이상이 되어야 한다는 말은 틀렸습니다. 비록 직무가 정지되었지만 윤석열의 현재 신분은 대통령입니다. 두 명의 대통령이 동시에 존재할 수 없고 한덕수 국무총리는 국민이 선출하지도 않았습니다.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will be in the US from the 24th till the 29th of December, marking the first high-level engagement between New Delhi and Washington following Donald Trump's presidential election victory. According to the Ministry of External Affairs, Dr. Jaishankar will hold discussions with counterparts on vital bilateral, regional and global matters. He is also scheduled to chair a conference of India's consul generals in the US. A US judge has delayed a trial for the suspect in the second assassination attempt of President-elect Donald Trump until September 2025. Now, this is according to a court order. Lawyers for the suspect, Ryan Ruth, sought a delay of the scheduled Feb 10 trial date, citing the large volume of evidence in the case. Florida-based U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon, however, agreed to a delay but called the defense request for a postponement until December 2025 excessive. Cannon scheduled the case to go before a jury beginning September 8, 2025. A devastating official report has concluded that former Republican congressman and Trump's first pick for Attorney General Matt Gaetz paid over $90,000 for sex, including with a minor, and handed out illicit drug party favors. The House of Ethics Committee investigation has found that Gaetz made the payments to women for sex while he was a member of Congress. The bipartisan report says from 2017 to 2020, Representative Gaetz made tens of thousands of dollars in payments to women that the committee determined were likely in connection with sexual activity and/or drug use. The report also found substantial evidence that the Republican used illegal drugs including cocaine and ecstasy. In a failed bid to prevent the report's release, Gaetz filed a last-minute lawsuit against the ethics panel, saying damage to his reputation and professional standing would be severe and irreversible. Luigi Mangione, the suspect accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, has pleaded not guilty to New York State murder and terrorism charges. Now, the 26-year-old appeared in court on to be arraigned on 11 state criminal counts, including murder, a crime of terrorism. As well as the state-level charges, he's also accused of federal stalking and murder offenses that could lead to a death penalty sentence. The Biden administration has launched a new probe into legacy Chinese semiconductors that may go into everything from cars to household goods and even defense systems. Now, according to a White House statement, China routinely engages in non-market policies and practices as well as industrial targeting of the chip industry, which allows Chinese firms to significantly harm competition and create dangerous supply chain dependencies in foundational semiconductors. The so-called Section 301 investigation will look into China's acts, policies, and practices on the production of silicon carbide substrates or other wafers used as inputs onto semiconductor fabrication. The new French government formed under François Bayrou has named Eric Lombard as its finance minister. Lombard currently works at French state bank CDC. The new finance minister's leadership will face close scrutiny from markets as France is reeling from months of political turmoil, facing mounting pressure to cut its swollen deficits. Former U.S. President Bill Clinton has been admitted Monday to Georgetown University Medical Center in Washington after developing a fever. Clinton's deputy chief of staff has issued a statement saying that the 78-year-old was hospitalized in the afternoon for testing and observation. She added that he remains in good spirits and deeply appreciates the excellent care he's receiving. Now Clinton, a Democrat who served 2 terms as president from January 1993 until January 2001, addressed the Democratic National Convention in Chicago this summer. He also campaigned ahead of November's election for the unsuccessful White House bid of Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris. Starbucks workers have expanded their strike to 4 more U.S. cities, including New York. The union representing over 10,000 baristas said late on Saturday. Now, the 5-day strike, which began on Friday and initially closed Starbucks cafes in Los Angeles, Chicago, and Seattle, has added locations in New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia, and St. Louis. Workers United said in a statement it did not specify what New Jersey city the walkout was occurring in. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump apparently plans to pull the country out of World Health Organization on day 1. As per reports, health experts in the U.S. say they had been warned by members of Trump's transition team of the decision, adding that a withdrawal would have catastrophic impacts on global health. A 33-year-old Guatemalan citizen was charged with murder and arson on Monday after allegedly lighting a woman on fire and watching her burn to death on a New York City subway train over the weekend. Sebastian Zapata was arrested about 6 hours after police say he used a lighter to ignite the clothes of a woman who appeared to be dozing on a stationary F train at the Coney Island Stillwell Avenue subway station in New York's Brooklyn. Mozambique's highest court has upheld the governing party's win in the October presidential elections following weeks of opposition protests in which more than 100 people have lost their lives. Now, the court called the Constitution Council said irregularities in the election did not substantially influence the results and that Daniel Chapo with the governing party Frelimo won with 65.17% of the vote. Opposition politician Vanessa Mondlane had 24.29%. The court revised its initial results that said Chapo received 70% of the votes. The World Bank has announced $12 million towards emergency response and recovery in Vanuatu. A week after a 7.3 magnitude earthquake killed at least 14 people, wrecked buildings, and cut power and water supplies. Stephen Ndegwa, World Bank Country Director for the Pacific and Papua New Guinea, said in a statement that the scale of the disaster had been devastating for Vanuatu and would hit its economy hard. Lava began bubbling on Monday through the crust of Kilauea, located in Hawaii's Big Island. It's one of the biggest and the world's most active volcanoes. The eruption was confined to the volcano's summit caldera in a remote, closed area of Hawaii, Volcanoes National Park. Increased earthquake activity began at around 2 a.m. local time, and within about half an hour, webcam images begin to show lava emerging through fissures in the caldera or spurting in fountains. According to reports, Stellantis unit FCA US has agreed to pay $4.2 million to resolve a California investigation into excess emissions. Now, the California Air Resource Board, or the CARB, said the vehicles covered by the settlement for violators of air quality regulations include 2014 through 2016 Ram ProMaster 1500, 2500 and 3500 vehicles equipped with a 3-liter diesel engine. The state said the vehicles had an unapproved device that circumvented emissions control and resulted in nearly 55 tons of excess oxides of nitrogen being released into the air. Stellantis in 2022 paid a $5.6 million settlement to California for similar allegations involving gas-powered vehicles. It's time to slip into a very short break now. Stay tuned.
When you're setting up a new nest, starting your own flock, or they just keep on growing. Get the flexibility you need with VeryPay. Pay now, pay later, or pay over 3 months and pay no interest. We'll even send you helpful payment reminders. Shop the online store for fashion, home and more. VeryPay. Ways to pay that work your way.
Right now, UNICEF is supporting millions of children in emergencies around the world. It's what they do. Teams are bringing medical supplies for children in Yemen, clean water and medicines in Afghanistan, healthcare and safe spaces for Ukraine's children. To find out how you can help, search UNICEF Supplies online or text supplies to 84988. £32 could help provide a health worker with a large first aid kit.
Supplies that start out here in the world's largest humanitarian warehouse make sure children keep learning, keep playing, and keep safe. When their world is turned upside down, vital support from you will help make sure life-saving supplies like these can reach children whenever they need them.
Search UNICEF Supplies now or text supplies to 84988 because your support brings hope for children caught in crisis.
Get that lucky cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo, the site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. That's luckycowbingo.com/bingo.
Where can my presents be hidden? Is Santa ever late? Why am I always alone?
At Childline, children are asking us the most heartbreaking questions, even on Christmas Day.
It's okay. I'm here.
Will you help us answer more calls? Search NSPCC to give £20 now.
This winter sale, say OMG because our best ever price is back. You'll get this unlimited data SIM for just £22 per month. And you can gift data to the family, so you can start the new year more connected to everyone and everything. All on the UK's best network. That's why families choose EE. Hurry, this winter sale offer ends 30th of January.
We know travel can be confusing, so let us inspire you. Welcome to Qatar. Experience it all. World-class hospitality, diverse landscapes from city to sea, and fly there with the Airline of the Year 2022, Qatar Airways. Book now at travelup.com or call 0207 580 5000. Travel Up, flights, hotels, holidays.
Welcome back, viewers. A White House spokesman has said that Nippon Steel's $15 billion bid for the U.S. steel has been referred to U.S. President Joe Biden giving the president 15 days to decide on a tie-up he has previously said he opposes. The Committee of Foreign Investment in the United States, or the CFI US, which reviews foreign investments in the US for national security risks, referred the bid to Biden after it was unable to reach a consensus. News Corp has agreed to sell its Australian cable TV unit Foxtel to British-owned sports network DAZN for $2.1 billion, including debt, cutting the Murdoch-controlled media empire's exposure to a business upended by streaming platforms. News Corp will gain a board seat and hold a 6% stake in DAZN, a London-headquartered streaming platform which DAZN gains streaming rights to Australian Football League and the National Rugby League. The Finance Ministry of China has said that Beijing will raise its budget deficit ratio, intensify fiscal spending, and accelerate expenditure in 2025. Now, the government will arrange for a larger scale of government bonds to provide more support for stabilizing growth, the ministry said, citing a major government conference held between Monday and Tuesday. According to reports, the Nordstrom family, HAS, has teamed up with Mexican retailer Liverpool to clinch a $4 billion deal to take iconic departmental store chain Nordstrom private, 6 years after a similar attempt fell short. Nordstrom and rivals such as Macy's have become enticing takeover targets in recent years as sales have slowed and shares have slumped. The Nordstrom family has wanted to take the company private in part because it believes it is undervalued the public markets after a 70% tumble since 2015. iPhone giant Apple is closing in on a historic $4 trillion stock market valuation, powered by investors cheering the progress in the company's long-awaited artificial intelligence enhancements to rejuvenate sluggish iPhone sales. The company has pulled ahead of Nvidia and Microsoft in the race to the monumental milestone, thanks to a just about 16% jump in shares since early November that has added about $500 billion to its market cap. Canada's antitrust regulator has said that it is suing Rogers Communications Inc. for allegedly misleading customers about offering unlimited data under some phone plans. Ottawa's Competition Bureau has issued a statement underlining that Rogers' advertisements created a quote-unquote false or misleading impression that its phone plans provided consumers with limitless data. In reality, the plans have data caps, and once reached, the transfer speed is reduced by over 99%. India's men in blue practice for the fourth test match of the ongoing Border Gavaskar Trophy series in Melbourne that starts on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas on Thursday. Now the visitors will be without the services of off-spinner Ravichandran Ashwin, who retired mid-series after the Gabba test in Brisbane. India had won the Melbourne test match on the two previous series wins in 2018 and 2019. Rohit Sharma's team will try and repeat the success for the third consecutive time so that they can retain the Border Gavaskar Trophy.
So after 3 test matches, if I had to look at it being 1-1, it's a fair reflection of how both teams have played. There have been solid cricket being played by both teams, and obviously now these 2 test matches are going to be so important for both teams. But we want to break it down to just Melbourne now and focus on what we can achieve here. Get our things right, play well, bat well, bowl well, and take some good catches as well.
In the absence of Manu Bhakar's name from the 30 athletes shortlisted for the Major Dhyan Chand Khel Ratna Awards has triggered a big sporting controversy in India. Manu, who won the most successful athlete from the Paris Olympics this year, winning 2 bronze medals in shooting, was reportedly snubbed despite submitting her application in time. Her father has since gone on to slam the reports of the ministry and other authorities for the unforgivable mistake. The shooter too is heartbroken to miss the shortlist despite giving her all in Paris. Women's world number one Ariana Sabalenka arrived in Brisbane on Monday, ready to kickstart her preparations for next year's Australian Open. The 26-year-old Belarusian will feature at the Brisbane International, where she lost to Sabalenka at the final earlier this year. Now, Sabalenka won the Australian Open without losing a set and became the first woman to defend her title there since Victoria Azarenka in 2013. In October, she regained the WTA World number one ranking and was named the WTA Player of the Year earlier this month. The speculation over Christopher Nolan's next movie has finally come to an end. Universal has revealed that Nolan will adapt the Odyssey, the epic poem from Homer that follows Odysseus' journey home after the Trojan War. Now, Christopher Nolan's next film, The Odyssey, is a mythical action epic shot across world using brand new IMAX film technology, said the studio. That's all we have for you this Tuesday. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, take care and have a wonderful day.
There once was a tree, lovingly made to look real, yet looking real wasn't enough. It wanted to be real. One night it wondered, where are my roots? And an answer came. Your roots will grow within the hearts of those around you as you create very real memories. And for the first time, the tree felt real joy. Shop Boxing Day deals at balsamhill.co.uk.
Hey, Sainsbury's, how can we make this Christmas a bit more fizz-whizzy?
We can give you a hand.
Ah, a scrumptiddly-umptious salmon terrine, a roasted carrot galette, and a glory-umptious golden forest dessert.
Want to go big this Christmas? Ask Sainsbury's. Sainsbury's, good food for all of us.
I'm here.
How?
Look out the window.
Look out, mate. It's a mobile phone, look.
Merry Christmas, BBZ.
They can't see you, Mum.
Now I can see everyone.
We can't see you, Mum.
It's not my phone, it's your phone. Check your phone.
Merry Christmas, love.
Merry Christmas, Mum.
So what's it like over there? Is it hot?
It's roasting.
Connecting you at Christmas for 40 years. Vodafone, the nation's network.
Someone's happy. Get that lucky cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo. The site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. 75 ball bingo. Even 90 ball bingo. Fill your bingo boots today. Get that lucky cow feeling at luckycowbingo.com/bingo or download the Lucky Cow Android app from the Play Store.
Sometimes it's the little things that remind us of them. Stay close, even when you're far apart. Send money worldwide with Remitly.
Bhaskar had in fact told NDTV yesterday that his son had been waiting for more than a month and had been asking the father repeatedly that he wants to watch the film, and when the opportunity from the premiere came, the father managed to arrange for those tickets for the family, 4 tickets for the family, and what was meant to be a very happy evening out ended up in a tragedy that has changed the life and fate of this particular family. But yes, there is, on the one hand, the tragedy that happened to this family. The second part is a police investigation and what will happen in the court of law. The third part is what is seeming to be a face-off between Chief Minister Revanth Reddy and Allu Arjun. The fourth part, whether this will start impacting the larger film industry in Telangana, in Tollywood, whether Tollywood, I mean, there have been certain noises being made or voices from political leaders who suggest that they are feeling should I say, the heat of the Chief Minister's so-called attitude, and some of them have been drawing parallels, saying that Mr. Nagarjuna also faced some action from the authorities here over the N convention. They have also said that afterwards it was Allu Arjun and also Mohan Babu, but the administration and police have clarified that each of these cases is unique and separate. So while the police does not want to treat Tollywood with kid gloves, they will not be treating him any special, either adversely or favorably. Back to you.
Like you said, 4 parts of this entire story, but also I want to ask you, Allu Arjun is accused number 11 as far as the police's complaint is concerned. What about the other 10 accused in this case? Because the allegation also is that because he's a superstar, whatever the police does gets, disproportionate, of course, limelight, and then it becomes Allu Arjun versus Revanth Reddy. What about the other 10 accused as far as in this case is concerned?
So the other accused in this case include the owners of Sandhya Theatre, the managers at Sandhya Theatre, the floor managers as well, and what we understand is also the private security team, the production unit members of Allu Arjun. All of them have been named, and in fact even before Allu Arjun's arrest, the theatre management, at least 3 people, including one of the owners, the manager Mr. Nagaraj, as well as one other floor manager who was managing the lower balcony during the crowd movement, all of them were in fact arrested and subsequently got bail along with Allu Arjun when he had in fact filed the quash petition, and he had been taken to Chanchalguda jail, and that's when the quash petition came up, taken as a lunch motion, and subsequently he was given that 4-week reprieve. What I must point out is that the police has been proceeding with this case as expected, because Allu Arjun is not named as accused number 1, like you rightly pointed out. He's accused number 11, but yes, a disproportionate amount of the attention has gone to Allu Arjun because he happens to be the celebrity that he is. And there have been political voices and voices from the film fraternity as well who have spoken in many ways, compounding the noise that produces and escalating it by several levels. So while the management people as well as the managers at the theatre were also arrested by the police, and the commissioner had told me that a few others are on the run and we are on the lookout for them in order to arrest them, but they felt that with the moving of the quash petition as well and subsequently wanting to question Allu Arjun, they have actually not had an opportunity to question Allu Arjun on this, and this questioning, this summoning by the police can also be seen from Allu Arjun's side as an opportunity to present his version of what happened to the police on record here at Chikadpalli police station, where we understand that the DCP and the ACP are in the room where the questioning is in fact happening. And very specifically, of course, other than the sequence of events that he will be relating to the police, specifically he will be asked about whether he was aware that the police had actually denied permission to the theatre authorities for the arrival of Allu Arjun and his co-stars and the production unit as well. The Circle Inspector Mr. Raju Nayak had actually cited multiple reasons why it cannot be allowed, including the fact that that area is heavily crowded, it's a heavy density traffic area. area. There are multiple theatres and restaurants. It happens to be at the RTC crossroads, all of which add to the vulnerability of the area. The theatre itself, the Sandhya Theatre, has two theatres inside. There's a 70 mm and there's a 35 mm, and there's a single entry and exit gate that happens to be there, and all that was cited as reasons by the circle inspector to deny permission. So Allu Arjun will be asked about whether he was aware that permission had been denied. Did the theatre owners or management convey to Allu Arjun that permission was denied? Who took the call to go ahead with the arrival of the star for the premiere show despite the permission being denied? And did the police in fact tell him at any stage that he has not been given permission and therefore he should not proceed? Presumably there would have been intelligence inputs that would have been given to the police about Allu Arjun deciding or coming or arriving at that place. So was there any call at all that was taken by senior police officers to stop Allu Arjun from arriving at that place? Because it is very, police have put out saying that, you know, the kind of deployment that they had done there for the last 2-3 days when the premiere show was announced and the show was taking place, there was chaos at the theatre and they were finding it very difficult to in fact manage the crowds, and it is the arrival of the actor that had made things go out of control, and they've also blamed the private security of Allu Arjun, the role of private security men around Allu Arjun in pushing people, in trying to open the gates themselves, all of which the police has pointed out is not within the purview of the private security crew of Allu Arjun.
Right. You know, now let's just talk about what you said earlier. Now there are people, there are politicians and political parties which are in fact trying to blame some sort of an overreaction, which they say has been done by Revanth Reddy and the Congress government there. It's BRS and the BJP. We heard the reactions of various ministers, former ministers and leaders of the BJP as well. They seem to be tag teaming against the Congress. Is there a sense of to try and drive home some sort of a political advantage with what is happening as far as this case is concerned?
So the political parties, the opposition parties, whether the BRS or the BJP, have jumped into this controversy, and perhaps rightly so from their point of view, because they say that as political parties we react to what happens in the state and we have every right to comment on what happens in the state as well. And it is in that context the BRS spokesperson has explained, and Mr. KTR has also explained, that he had pointed out about the arrest of Allu Arjun, and he had questioned the manner in which Allu Arjun was arrested, and they had in fact suggested that he had been taken away without following due procedure. All those were questions that were raised by Mr. K.T. Ramarao. So while all that happened, almost like in a film, there was this the situation was changing with the developments that were happening every day. If after the arrest of Allu Arjun, it seemed like he was getting the support because a public perception had been created because of all these voices in the social media suggesting that he is being unfairly targeted. Subsequently, the police administration and the government as well seem to have felt the need to explain it in the public domain so that they are able to tell their side of the story and saying that we went by the law and that's why we arrested him. So is that overaction? That is what some of the other political leaders are calling it. The police does not believe so, and the Chief Minister certainly has denied it. And even speaking inside the assembly for almost an hour on this issue has been criticized by the opposition parties. The BRS leader has said that when there are much more big issues like farmer suicide and minority issues and others that we wanted to debate, we were talking about school children suffering food poisoning and all that. The government spent an disproportionate amount of time on explaining their stand in the Allu Arjun issue. So that is of course something that as political parties they need to also create a public perception about what they are doing. So while we can say that these issues need to be fought in a court of law, the government chose to bring it out in the public domain, and the Chief Minister in fact himself explained, saying that I am well aware that I am the Chief Minister, I am also the Home Minister, and the agencies that are investigating this report directly to me, and therefore any statements from me can be construed to be influencing them, influencing the course of investigation, and therefore I had exercised restraint. But because this issue has come up with the raising of the issue by Mr. MIM leader, Mr. Akbaruddin Owaisi. That's why I'm answering is what he said. And subsequently, we saw police officers from the top to the inspector level talking about it, putting their issues in the public domain. So while now everyone, whether it's the BRS or others, are saying that let this be handled by courts of law, it is being too politicized. The fact is, it has become politicized, and now we are also, there is also speculation about whether this controversy will have ramifications for the film industry and for the politics in the state itself, because in a state where you have seen actors turn politicians quite often, as of now I would not say Allu Arjun has shown any such inclination, but in a state like that there is bound to be speculation about whether this particular actor, who is hugely popular among people, will also take on a political role in time to come. As of now, he has made no political statements. We are seeing some movement behind me, Ankit, and therefore we are waiting to see if the vehicle that has been parked there just behind the gate, whether that's going to start moving and whether Allu Arjun will be taken to the theatre. That is something that we need to wait and watch out for. But as we saw, we had shared visuals earlier about the team going in, Allu Arjun's team himself going in to the theatre and waiting there. And as you can see, the barricades on the other side are much bigger, and this side there seems to be an attempt to create a route for the vehicle to go out, and therefore I think the movement will start moving, because we are seeing the gates now open, and presumably Allu Arjun will be taken in the vehicle. Whether he goes in the police vehicle or his own private vehicle, that is something that I'll have to wait and watch and see. But presumably he may take his own vehicle, because that's the vehicle by which he came. Whether as part of questioning he will be taken in the police vehicle, that we will wait and watch. But what we understand is that once the questioning by the police has been done, by the investigating officers has been done, the plan was to take him to Sandhya Theatre, the same venue where the tragedy unfolded on the night of December 4, when the premiere show was happening there, and hundreds, in fact thousands, had gathered on the streets outside and even inside the theatre. Many unauthorized people had gone in as well, and a stampede had ensued with the police deployed on the ground, really unable to control what happened. And the police have also blamed the private security of Allu Arjun for having done it. So we will be seeing this movement of the gates, because the barricades have been opened already. And what I do understand also that the gates are now opening, and the car is being readied for the actor presumably to be brought out, and he in all probability is going to be taken to Sandhya Theatre, where already there is certain deployment that has happened in order to try and ensure that the reconstruction of the entire scene can be done there. So the first vehicle that's coming out does not have Mr. Allu Arjun seated in it. Is that right? There is no one seated inside that car. The senior officers also guiding, the DCPs of the area of the task force, CCS as well, guiding the movement of the vehicle, because they know that this is a star who is going to be going along with the police to the scene of offense, RTC Crossroads, even otherwise densely populated area in terms of the density of vehicles on the road, and you always will see huge amounts of traffic there. And because of the big numbers of theatres and the big cutouts and big stars, it's a very popular place for watching the release of big films, and that is where the celebrations with the fans are all the time take place. And it is in fact, Sandhya Theatre is in fact famous for that kind of for being that kind of a venue where big numbers of fans would assemble. So now, yes, we are beginning to see the movement. This is a police vehicle that has come out first, and this will presumably go first, and then the gate is again being opened presumably for the next vehicle to follow as well, or was that a false alarm? Because the gates are now once again closed with one vehicle leaving there.
Right, as you track down these developments, I mean, of course...
Let me just try to find out what happens from the police officer here.
Go ahead, Uma. Go ahead. Uma is trying to find out whether in just a short while from now, Allu Arjun is going to be taken out and will be taken to the theatre, because you can see a lot of security which has suddenly increased. The gates were opened and some cops at this moment, in fact, outside. What we are expecting, it's been more than 3 hours that the actor, in fact, has been inside, where the questioning continues on this entire case. Remember, the police had earlier arrested him, but had hardly any time. He was then released on bail, and today he was summoned again to present himself before the police. Now, there are a lot of people, especially the political parties, which are raising the question whether this is a witch hunt against Allu Arjun, whether this is just the chief minister versus the superstar. I mean, ego clash of the titans in Telangana. But what we see at this moment is some movement after more than 3 hours, which seems like preparations for Allu Arjun to be taken out. But as my colleague said, she's confirming these developments at this moment as we speak. It's been more than 3 hours that Allu Arjun is being questioned inside the police station on the stampede case. Remember, this happened on December 4th when Allu Arjun's movie Pushpa 2 was being released. At the premiere of this movie, there was a massive crowd which had gathered, unfortunately, for a woman and her child who was a huge fan of Allu Arjun. That woman passed away in the stampede, and the son has been severely injured, head injuries, in the hospital. Yesterday, Uma, my colleague, spoke to the father of that boy as well, and what he said, that although he doesn't hold Allu Arjun responsible for what had happened, the unfortunate twist of fate that took away his wife and left his child struggling for his life, but he also, in fact, is the complainant as far as this case is concerned. So a lot of things happening at this moment, and a massive amount of politics also being played in this case. Remember, Allu Arjun the very next day had announced some sort of a compensation money for the family. 25 lakh rupees is what he had announced at that point of time. Uma Sudhir is back with us. Uma, over to you for more information.
So the police certainly deploying the vehicles in such a manner that seems to suggest that there will be a movement to take actor Allu Arjun to Sandhya Theatre